Welcome back to the Hip Bombs YouTube channel. Today we're going to take a look at how one of the greatest ball strikers ever loads their trail hip into the backswing. Over the years, I've really admired watching Vijay Singh's work ethic and really enjoyed studying his swing. In my opinion, it's one of the best swings to look at. He does a great job creating a massive turn in the backswing. But the important part of that is he also does a great job loading that trail hip in the process. So we're gonna pop his swing up. And one of the things I want you to notice is that belt buckle is gonna get closer to his right hip as he turns back. Notice the crease in his right hip is getting bigger. Ultimately, that's a sign that he's creating a load or stretch on that trail glute. If we can load that in the backswing, it's going to fire much more efficiently in the downswing. So to kind of recap that, in the backswing, one of the things that we see is we see that belt buckle actually getting closer to that right hip. So you can see how that distance actually just got closer. And the other way that you can tell if you're loading the trail hip correctly is to take your lead hand and stick that in the crease of your right hip. If you feel that hand starting to disappear as you turn back, that's a good sign. That's a sign that the trail glute is getting loaded and stretched. If you're turning back and you don't feel that hand getting squeezed, okay, or you see that distance from the belt buckle to the right hip maintain, ultimately that's a sign that you're not loading the trail hip. And if you're not loading the trail hip, what you'll also see is a lack of depth from the down a line view. If we load it correctly, you'll see that trail hip get deeper. If you don't load it correctly, you'll see this trail hip actually start to move towards the ball. So one of the ways I started to feel this in my own swing is by using a Rotex disc. So I'm gonna step on here with it under my right foot. I'm gonna have the club across my shoulders. Now, I'm gonna turn to the top, okay? And you'll notice that my foot will actually spin. Once I get to the top, I'm gonna actually turn my right foot counterclockwise, okay? So that's creating internal rotation. I'm gonna hold it for a few seconds. As I do that, I can feel a lot of load on the inside part of my groin. I'm gonna relax, let the foot go back to zero. I'm gonna turn back even further. I'm gonna activate and hold. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna release it. And now I'm gonna turn back even deeper. 1, 2, 3. So once I come off of it, I can feel a lot of tension build up through the inside part of my legs so that when I actually turn back to the top, okay, I can feel that right hip getting a lot deeper. I can feel my hand actually disappearing into that right hip as I turn back. It's really important to get this correct at some point in your backswing or through the transition. As we mentioned, if you can get that glute to stretch and load, it's gonna set you up for efficiency later in your swing. So if you don't have a Rotex disc, one of the things you can do is you can use the ground. Okay, you're gonna turn to the top. Now, I want you to torque the ground in a counterclockwise fashion. You should feel this in the hip. We're gonna hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3. Release that foot, let it go back to 0. Turn back even further. Torque the ground. 1, 2, 3. Release it, turn back further. 1, 2, 3. So as I mentioned, you should feel a lot of tension through the inner part of your leg. And then test it. Once you come off of it, if you make a swing, you should feel that right hip getting a lot deeper and a lot more stretch on that trail glute. So give that a go and practice loading that trail hip effectively. For more tips on how to improve your swing, head over to hipbombs.com.